Jeepers Creepers Reborn is a horror movie, and the fourth installment of the series. Part 4 is planned to be released in 2022. Maybe you haven't watched the previous movies. Maybe it's been a while. Part 1 dates back from 2001, so just to make sure you are up to date about the events that led up to Jeepers Creepers Reborn, here is our brief recap of Part 1, 2, and 3. The first Jeepers Creepers movie was released in 2001. Trish Jenner, played by Gillian Phillips, and her brother Darry, played by Justin Long, are returning home from college for spring break in Florida. They see the driver of an old truck dumping several bodies into a large pipe outside an abandoned church while driving down the road. Darry decides to investigate and discovers a lair containing hundreds of dead bodies. The pair receive a call from Jezelle Gay Hartman, a woman who informs them that they are in danger, to be tracked down by the driver, who is revealed to be an ancient demonic creature known as the Creeper, played by Jonathan Breck, who kills and eats his people every 23 years for 23 days long. While looking for assistance at the police station, the brother and sister encounter Jezelle, who warns them once more before the Creeper arrives. The Creeper eventually captures Darry and disappears with him after a chase, leaving Trish horrified and shocked. Afterwards, it's revealed that the Creeper killed Darry. We then move on to the second part, Jeepers Creepers 2, released in 2003. The Creeper abducts a young Billy Taggart, played by Sean Fleming, on its 22nd day of feeding, much to the horror of his father Jack and older brother Jack Jr., played by actor Luke Edward. The Creeper disables a school bus carrying a high school basketball team the following day by blowing its tires with handcrafted shurikens. Cheerleader Minxie Hayes tells the rest of the students about the Creeper, after seeing visions of Billy Taggart and Darry Jenner, and that the creature will go into hibernation at the end of its 23rd day of feeding. Soon after, the Creeper kidnaps Betty Borman, as well as coaches Charlie Hanna and Dwayne Barnes, leaving the students stranded. When the monster attacks, Jack uses a harpoon to shoot the Creeper in the head. However, the Creeper enters a state of hibernation before it can die, leaving Jack dissatisfied. 20 years later, a much older Jack Jr. and an elderly Jack Sr. wait for the Creeper, which is kept as a sideshow attraction on his farm, to come back to life so they can kill it. The third Jeepers Creepers movie isn't released until 2017, no less than 14 years after Part 2. Part 3 is set between Part 1 and Part 2. Following the events of the first movie, one night, Kenny Brandon, played by Jordan Salem, witnesses a man successfully severing the Creeper's hand before being taken away by the monster. After the kidnapping of Darry Jenner that took place in Part 1, Sheriff Dan Testego, played by Stan Shaw, and Sergeant David Stubbs, actor Brandon Smith, launch an investigation into the Creeper. Meanwhile, Kenny's mother Galen has a vision of Kenny being killed by the Creeper the next day. He warns her to keep moving because the Creeper is looking for its severed hand, which contains information about his real identity. Not much later, Galen's granddaughter Addison is kidnapped by the Creeper, much to Buddy Hook's horror. Ignoring all warnings, Galen touches the severed hand, learning about the Creeper through visions, and hands it over to Testego and Tubbs, who inspect it alongside other police team members. While the Creeper proceeds to murder several police officers, including Testego, Addison eventually escapes from the Creeper's truck, reuniting with Galen and Buddy. Buddy then departs for a high school basketball game the next day, on the same bus that is later attacked, as is shown in Part 2, by the Creeper shortly before its next hibernation in Part 2. Over 20 years later, Trish Jenner is seen reading an open letter, presumably written on a computer, calling for people to fight the Creeper when it returns and vowing to exact revenge on the Creeper for the death of her brother Darry. So that's the story recap. Jeepers Creepers Reborn will be released in 2022, and producers already released its premise. The Horror Hound Festival holds its first ever event in Louisiana. Chase and his girlfriend Lane are among those present, and she begins to have disturbing visions associated with the town's past and the Creeper. Lane believes that something unearthly has been summoned as the festival begins, and soon things start to get really scary. So that's it for our Jeepers Creepers movie recap. If you enjoyed watching this video, feel free to give us a like, and if you are interested in more story recaps for the future movies in the future, please subscribe to our channel.